Hi, this is Numeric Citizen here. In today's video, I want to talk about craft and photography. I want to know if craft is good as a tool to create a photo diary. I want to know if craft is good at sharing photos online with your friends or your family. I want to know if craft is good at managing a photo portfolio, for example. So let's find out. One last question. Is craft able to replace SmugMug or Flickr? It's been a week since I've been back from a 3-week vacation in Italy. And it was, oh my God, a really nice trip. I took about 2,000 photos. I took 800 photos with my Nikon 750, and the rest of them has been shot with my iPhone 13 Pro. And what people do when they go on vacation or they go on a trip, they usually share the photos on Facebook, but I'm not really into Facebook. The least I'm using Facebook, the better I am. They can share the photos on Instagram, and Instagram is still Facebook, so for me it's not really an option. So more serious photographers will maybe prefer sites like Flickr or SmugMug or 500px or even Unsplash to share their best work. And for this time, I wanted to try craft because I'm a really big user of craft, and I wanted to see if I can put craft to work and maybe help me share my photos, my vacation photos in Italy. So this is what I did, and this is an experience I did to try to find the answer to the question I just stated at the beginning of this video. So let me explain in more details. So the question has been already asked a month ago on the Circle Craft community, where I asked photographers what they could do with craft for their photo-related work. And this question has been asked, and there's a lot of chit-chat about this question I asked. So sharing photos with craft, it means that we have to create a document and share it online and put photos in it. And to do that, I tried to find some inspiration of the design of the document I would create for this photo diary. So I look at the craft main website, where they do store a few templates related to travels, and there's two examples. This is the one I think inspired me the most, where you can see a card for each day, and there's another one called a travel blog, where again you can see different countries that the person can visit, and they will blog about that. Let me tell you that I'm not really a travel blogger. I'm more a photographer than a travel blogger. So I didn't expect to write a lot of text accompanying with my photos. So I decided just to concentrate on the visual portion, not the textual portion of this photo diary. So I created a shared document, which I'll show you right here. And there is a few things I have to tell you about the design, the choices I made about the design. As you can see on the screen right now, this is the final result of the photo diary of my trip to Italy. And there's a few design decisions I made for this specific document. The first thing is I wanted to use the narrow design, the narrow page, instead of the wide one, because I wanted to give it a feel as a kind of a photo diary which kind of rolls in front of you. So I wanted to really use the narrow design. And the photos there are all mine. And then there's an introduction to this. And eventually, you find some cards, the maps where I came from, where I went, gave some details or the places I visited to in Italy. And for that, Craft is very nice. It's very good. It's really easy to create those maps with Apple Maps or Google Maps, and then take a snapshot of that and put that inside your document. And then I use Apple Photo to kind of see where all the photos has been taken when I was using the iPhone. So this is what you're seeing right now. And then this is the start of the each day documented by a different card for each day. And the idea there was to use a card background with a simple color that is close to the general color theme of the picture itself, the cover image of the page inside this card. So I wanted to try to find something that is closely related, to kind of create a sense of cohesion with visual cohesion between the card background and the cover image of the page inside the card. The other thing is that I could have chosen a different card format, like the square one, but I wanted to have more space to see the start of the page inside the card, so we can see the cover image and then some text. That's why I chose this specific card format. So every day I created a card, and then you can see there's all the cards for all the days. And this is a 3 weeks vacation, so there's a lot of stuff there. And there is a few cards at the end where they are more black and white, because the general theme of this specific day was kind of shooting in black and white with the iPhone. And then at the end, there's a guest book where people could post comments about their visit to my photo diary. There's a lot of comments, and I'm pretty happy for that. And this is one of the things that Craft does well. It's pretty easy to set up a website where people can just enter their username and then just post comments. So, and at the end of this, there's a few documents, there's a few pages where I'm describing the project itself, and then a few articles I wrote in this website, which I later published online on my blog. And this is me right there. Okay, so when people hit the page, so I go to the first page, so this is the start of the trip. Then you'll present it with this design where you can scroll through the page, and you can see a few information about that. There's a few comments here and there within the website, and there's a photo there. And this is, I even put a gift, an animated gift, because I thought it was cool. So one thing we have to create manually. There's two things actually. There's the navigation aid, where when the people visit the website, they can hit the next day hyperlink there, and then they will go to the next page. And then again, they can scroll through all the picture, and they will be able to again hit the next page. And as they follow each days, you can see at the top of the website the path there the user is actually following when he is visiting the website. I find this to be cool. I find this to be nice. And then you can see all at the left portion there, you can see the piling of the different pages that I'm visiting. So it's pretty nice. And you can go back to the top of the stack and then select a specific date. Click on that and then scroll through all the pictures. So it's pretty nice, and I'm pretty happy with the end result of this photo diary. Now I want to talk about the workflow that I use to create and maintain this photo diary. So the basic document was created before the beginning of the trip, and then once we left for Italy, I created the first page, which I formatted as a card, and then I took picture. And the main workflow was at the end of the day, when we came back to the apartment or the hotel, I would make sure that my photos from the iPhone and the camera are synced to my devices. The iPhone had to be synchronizing the content to the iCloud, my iCloud account, and my Nikon. I use the SD card and plug it into my iPad to import the photos in Lightroom. The issue I had, it was not related itself to craft, but in some places, in some apartment, the internet was pretty slow, so I had a hard time to keep up with all the photos I was taking during the day so they can upload to the cloud. So that's the end of the day, and the next day in the early morning, while taking a coffee and my breakfast, I started selecting and processing a few of the best photos for the previous day and start uploading those photos in the page itself for this specific day. So it's basically the process I use each day until the end of the trip to maintain the photo diary. At the end of the trip, I had a few issues because I couldn't keep up with all the photos I was taking during the day. So it took me a few days after the trip was completed for me to complete the process. But it has nothing to do with craft. It's more about myself and the time it took to process all the images. So it's basically the workflow I use for that. And when I was working offline, I must say that Craft is pretty good at working offline because it will kind of accumulate all the changes that you're doing to your document. So you're not limited to add stuff or change what's already there. So for that, Craft is very good at working offline. So that's the basic workflow I use to maintain this photo diary. There's a few things that you need to know about Craft and this project. First, photos are uploaded to Craft Cloud in full resolution, so there is no compression to the file itself, so that's a good thing. The other thing is that if you want to do a photo diary and you want to share that to a few friends, but you don't want to make it available to the world, remember that you can set a password on your document, so only people who knows about the link and the password will be able to visit your website. The other thing is that enabling comments is pretty cool because people visiting your website or your document will be able to drop their feedback in your website, which is pretty cool, and it's all there. It's there. It's pretty easy to enable. It comes with Craft itself. People can download picture from your website, and it could be a problem if you don't want people to download images when they visit your website. So if you right click on an image, there's the download option. I think their Craft could improve on that and maybe add the option to disable the download of the full resolution images. Also, there's like I said, the working offline. If you go back home and then you are on the plane and then you want to maybe add some text or change a few things, you'll be able to do that when you're working offline without a network. So that's the thing. I think you should know if you plan to use Craft for your own photo sharing needs. Now it's time to talk about some limitation related to the current release of Craft. This video is recorded for version 2.3.3, and I'll expose the different limitation that I found to be pretty important for me, and it's probably important for other photographers too. The first thing is that you are pretty limited in the arrangement that you can make within a bunch of photos sitting on a page. So what you're seeing right now is a few photos that they have taken during a specific visit to Italy. And as you know, if you are a Craft user, for each photos there is a way to kind of change the format of the way the photo is laid out on the page. So you can choose a large. This is the large one. So it's for this specific picture. There is nothing that I can do besides the currently formatted arrangement. But for those here, if I select large, then it will make it large to the actual size of the picture. So as you can see, the arrangement of the photos is not of my control. If I want to do something else, then I have to grab those pictures and then move them around in order to do something different. So as you can see, it's not always easy to do that. I mean, on a small screen, maybe it's the reason for that. So I have to kind of bring it, see, so I have to take that one and then drop it just like that there. So it's not as easy as it could be. If I want to change it back, so I can move here and then select I don't even remember which one it is. Oh, the fit auto size. So the auto size will put it like that, large like that. If I want to fit the current block, I'll have to use the fill option. So for that, I wanted to kind of use the this arrangement. So once they're smaller, it's easy to change that. So as you can see, there's nothing very sexy there. It's pretty limited. The other thing I want to talk about is the formatting or the decorations of a specific photo. So there's no way for me to change the appearance of this. There's no way for me to add a frame or add a filter on top of this to style the presentation of this picture. So it's kind of frustrating because in 2022, we have a lot of applications like Microsoft Word, Apple Pages, or Keynotes, where you can change pretty easily the way the picture will appear on a page or in a document. So that's the other thing that is very limited in Craft in this current release. The other thing is it's more related to when you are browsing the website where the document is shared. So I'll switch back to the website and I'll select a picture. So when someone is looking at a picture, so there's a loop there. Can I click on that? So I'll see the larger version of the image. Then there is no way for me to use the arrow keys on the keyboard, or there is no visual cue on the page that I can see the next picture in there. So it's pretty frustrating for the visitors. So even though there's an image right beneath the one before, so I click on that one, I cannot go to the back to the previous one. So that's pretty frustrating for me, I would say. Also, if there is I'll give you an example where it's actually possible to do that. Trying to find the right place for that. There's a specific arrangement of picture where if I hit this one specifically, then you see the arrows there. There's the previous arrows on the left and the next arrows on the right. So if I use a keyboard, I'll be able to change on this specific arrangement. And the reason why is because when we use this specific arrangement of photos within a page, then Craft for some reason will allow us to do a previous or the next image in while the visitor is visiting the page. So it's not consistent. It's different depending of the context, and I think it could be improved pretty easily. The other thing is that there is no option to allow for displaying the photo metadata, like the exposure, the focal length. There's nothing we can do about that. So if I click on this image, there is no information button where I could see the actual metadata of this picture. So that's something that some photographer would like to display, like me. And it's not possible right now. So that's another thing. And also, it's a general problem with Craft when you share a page. If you do a photo diary, some people could be tempted to use an RSS reader in order to stay connected to your content. But Craft shared page feature doesn't enable the RSS feature. So that's another issue that I think could be easy for the Craft team to change or to update or to add to the Craft experience. So those are the main limitations that I found within Craft in order to create what you're seeing there. It could be a deal breaker for many. For me, I'll leave that for the conclusion at the end of this video. But as you can see, there's a few limitations, and you have to know that before making your own decision about what you will do with Craft and your photos. Oh, I almost forgot two things that are missing in Craft right now. The first thing is about photo caption. Right now you can write photo caption, but you have to do them manually. So the way you do that is by placing a text block underneath the photo and then setting the text block format as a caption and then centering the text underneath the photo. So it's a lot of manual operations. I would prefer to be able to simply right click on the image and then add caption and then just type the text, and Craft would do all the rest. That's the one thing. The other thing is that I'd like to be able to set a link on the photo so the user could click on the photo and go to their website, to a website. It would help kind of create some sort of stories about around those photos, or refer to a place on the web for a specific photo. So there's no link that you can set on a specific image. So that's the two things I almost forgot to tell you. Now, the question that you might have is Craft good at creating or sharing your photos online with your friends or your family? Well, the question depends on your expectations about such a thing. A lot of people will share their photos, like I said earlier, on Facebook and on Instagram, and they just don't care about the rest. So they put their photos online there and they just let people see their stuff. But for some serious photographer, I would say that Craft is much better at sharing more like textual document with images than sharing images with a few text around it. That's because the way Craft, the original mission of Craft, at creating beautiful documents and with being able to share it with the world pretty easily. So it's more related to writing than photographer, I would say. I think the end result of my experiment are pretty good, but I'm a perfectionist, and maybe a lot of photographers are perfectionists, and a lot of people want to have much more control on the way they design the layout of their document, where there's a lot of picture in them, like for a portfolio or a photo diary like that. So it's up to you to decide. You know now the limitation of Craft, and so I think you have to make your own decision about that. There's a lot of untapped potential in the current release of Craft, but I think there's a lot of limitation which I expose in this video, which are pretty easy to overcome or to fix and improve by adding new features and helping photographers to do to meet their goal in sharing their work. So I think there's a lot of untapped potential, and for that I created a new article in the Let's Talk About Craft. There's a new document I created which is more related to photography. So I invite you to have a look at this document. I'll put the link in the show notes, in the video notes, so you'll be able to see where I think Craft should be added in this photography space. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. You can visit the photo diary by looking at the video notes underneath the video. If you like this video, or if you learned something, just hit like on this video. It's pretty appreciated. If you are not subscribing to this YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe, because I'm publishing a lot of videos and you don't want to miss any of them, I guess. So again, thank you very much for watching my videos. Thank you for being there, and see you guys in another one. Thanks.